everybody. Welcome back to the Bullhucker Podcast. I'm Moose Lundstrom.
This is Matt Gordon.
And we are back in Colorado Springs, dude.
I am so happy to be back in Colorado Springs.
We were here 2 weeks ago. You're wearing a different shirt. That's how you know.
No, obviously, I'm totally different, and this is not the same day.
Right. Well, I think they're on to us by now.
I
think the listener. You don't think so? You think
Nope.
we've got them fooled so far that we don't?
It's so obvious that we go different weeks and we go to so many events. It's obvious.
Well, you know what? We were there 2 weeks ago. but we were actually on the podcast. We had the owner of Colorado Springs Wrestling. Did a great job. You beat him. He beat me. Awful. Yeah, awful.
Ruthless,
Mr. Rude. So
he's awesome.
But this week we have a different wrestler on.
Hard Knocks Jimbo up in the house.
What's up, fellas?
Jimbo Lucas.
How are you? I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm doing awesome.
Very well.
So obviously this is the same night as the wrestling. We haven't actually got to enjoy it quite yet. I'm excited to watch you. You think you might be going in tonight?
As far as I know, we're supposed to get a rematch.
Hell yeah.
So you never know. Stuff happens. Guys get hurt, guys get sick, guys chicken out and find an excuse to not show up when they found a way to hoodwink you out of a belt, and then it's time for a rematch. But as far as I know, it's supposed to be the association, the Primos tag champs versus Dick Kick, the CSW tag champs, champ versus champ, winner take all.
Hell yeah.
So that was the word I got last week, and we're gonna see what happens.
Nice, very nice. Before we get started, though, I do want to say welcome to the Bullhucker Podcast. If you're new to the podcast, what we're going to do is we have a guest. Today's Jimbo Lucas. That's Hard Knocks. Hard Knocks, Jimbo Lucas. And what he's going to do is he's going to tell 3 stories about his life. Now, the kicker is only 2 of these stories are true. 1 is actually made up or borrowed. And at the end of the podcast, Matt and I are going to try and guess which one of those is actually not his story. You can find all our stuff on thebullhucker.com. Check us out there. Or if you look on the bottom right-hand corner of this, you'll see a little red button. That's our subscribe button. Please hit that. It's a little click for you, but a huge click for us. We really do appreciate it. Or follow us on whatever platform you get your podcasts on. Also, be awesome.
Oh, be excellent.
Be excellent.
Yes.
That's a little Bill and Ted right there. I love it. So, so thank you and welcome. We hope you enjoy what you do. And if you do, please subscribe to the podcast.
Absolutely.
We got wrestlers for a couple weeks here.
I'm pumped about it.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the entire show tonight. It's going to be so badass, dude. Yeah, I'm so excited to be here.
A 30-man rumble.
I'm glad to have you guys, yeah.
That's
good.
That's what we heard from Randy. It was like 30-man rumble tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so pumped.
And to my understanding, the winner is going to get a title match with the Four Corners Territory Championship. If this thing has been opened up to wrestlers who are not under contract with CSW. So if a non-contracted wrestler ends up winning it, they get a guaranteed 1-year contract with CSW.
Awesome.
And for the record, CSW is the Colorado Springs Wrestling.
Yes.
And you can find all that stuff on thebullhucker.com. Also, we're going to have links to everything for Jimbo. You can check out all the stuff for Colorado Springs Wrestling in the links below. So please make sure you show them some love because you guys do a lot of charity here.
Absolutely. We just did something a couple weeks ago down in Pueblo. I think it was, man, I'm coming off of 6 straight weeks of wrestling. So, we just did something for a school down in Pueblo so that middle school kids get to take a field trip to D.C.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's cool. We're gonna get more into the wrestling, Jimbo, after the stories. But I will say, as I said in the last episode here in Springs, I think it's cool that there's a group of people, women and men both, that found a passion they love to do and they found a way to benefit their community by doing it. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of people, they do these events for money. They try and get paid doing it, which is awesome too. That's nothing wrong with it. But you guys have actually found a way to benefit, make the world a better place, and do something you love in the return. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Very lucky. Very lucky. So, Jim, are you ready to tell us some stories?
I am ready to tell you some stories.
I'll hop into it. So, Matt, you want to read the stories off, my man?
Okay, we got career, vacation, and family. And I really like the vagueness of these story names.
Hey, man, they don't mess around. Also, we forgot to announce.
I know we need that. We need that in there.
Now the announcements.
Yes.
You go ahead, Matt.
So we got Hard Knocks Jimbo Lucas, who is one half of the association,
Correct.
One half of the Primos Premier Pro Wrestling Tag Team Champions.
That's right.
That's who we got sitting with us right now.
That's awesome, man.
It's badass is what it is.
Yeah.
So you said half and half. What's the?
So our group, our tag team, the association, it's 2 guys and I'm 1 guy, so that makes me 1 half.
Oh, I thought you meant, I'm going to cut that out. I misunderstood what you said.
I was just gonna let him roll with that for a second. Like, let's
I
just
hate
have
you
fun. I know.
so
I'm
much.
sorry. I didn't.
I thought there were 2 different groups, and never mind.
Thank you for that. I want to keep that so bad.
Unfortunately for you, I'm the one to edit these.
Yeah,
so
I know,
that one's going
That
out,
is
man.
so you know how math works, right, Larry? So you have half of a 1.
You know what?
Shit, dude.
I might just leave that in.
Listen, I've been hitting the head a lot over the years, but my math skills are still on point. My math skills are still on point.
Yes.
So
Oh, shots fired.
It was he's just so serious and dry.
I will not remember your name, but my math skills are still on point.
Good.
So
Oh my goodness.
All right. So 3 stories, man. Do you pick it or am I picking?
You're not even gonna make me Rochambeau?
That's when we know. That's when we decide who gets to go first.
Oh yeah, that's right. You figured I'd know this by now. I see. I'm gonna go with number 3 again. Family, just like I did last time.
All right.
well, okay then. I just became a grandpa.
Congrats.
That's awesome.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, little girl, Emily Ann.
Cool.
Emily Ann.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I'm older. I'm older than you realize, more than likely. So
Sure.
Yeah.
That's cool. First grandchild.
Yes.
All right.
Emily Ann. Okay, now I got like questions. I'm thinking she's just born when again?
2 months ago.
2 months ago.
Yeah.
2 months.
How many kids do you have?
I have 3 kids.
All right.
Yeah.
The other 2 ain't down the grandchild yet.
They're not old enough. Well, they better not be old. You never know. But, yeah.
How old are they?
My youngest one is 9, and then our middle one is 13.
Okay. All right.
I concur with your earlier statement. Then
Yeah,
they better not be
yeah.
old enough.
Listen, technically speaking, but they're good kids though. So
All right.
Very good.
Short and to the point. All right. All right.
No, we have to touch on this. Like that might have been the shortest story in the history of the Bullhucker podcast.
That might be it. Yeah.
But I wonder if that's a strategy that could be employed with future guests, where they tell minimum,
Right.
and it's up to us to flesh the details out.
Could be. Is she local? Is she? Do you get a?
yes, they're here in the Springs.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool. So you gotta hang out.
everybody's here in the Springs. Yeah. So I'm a Springs native. So
Very good.
So I lucked out. Everybody's still pretty close together.
Are you going to introduce her to wrestling when the time comes?
But more than likely,
Yeah,
more
yeah.
than likely, we got a ways to go.
Certainly.
So, yeah.
That's cool.
Hell yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank
Yeah.
you guys.
If it's true.
It could be
it's
the lie.
If it might what if I'm only 27 years old and I've just been really stressed out my whole life and I'm prematurely gray,
This is what happens when you're bad at math, my friend.
that is, yeah.
I'm cutting that out.
Don't cut it out. It's perfect.
It is.
That's it's amazing.
So no. Okay, that's family. I'm gonna pick for the second one. Let's go with career.
Career. My professional wrestling career has spanned over 4 decades.
Damn.
I made my professional wrestling debut in 1999. So I've wrestled through the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, and the 2020s.
That's crazy. How old were you when you started?
I was 26. So I have to think back a ways, guys. So yeah, I started training when I was 25 and I debuted when I was 26.
That's crazy. What made you get into it?
It fell in my lap. So like we all grow up pro wrestling fans and sometimes you think, man, if I could only do that. But what would it take to do that? And I just came across the local stuff. So
And jumped in.
jumped right on in. I knew the right people that I didn't even realize, and somebody said this, and all of a sudden I made a phone call and got in it at the right time.
Has Hard Knocks Jimbo Lucas been your persona through your entire wrestling career, or have you had different ones?
I originally started out as Mad Dog Jim Lucas.
Nice.
I've always stayed with my real name.
Cool.
That's very cool. It was CSW did not exist back then, did they?
No, they did not.
What was the federation you were with?
The American Wrestling Alliance, so a variation of an AWA, out of northern Colorado.
Oh, wow.
It was based out of Westminster. So on a resume, a list of stuff I've done, I will spell it out, American Wrestling Alliance, and not just put AWA, because everybody will be like, AWA, I don't remember seeing you on TV.
Right.
And then in parentheses like Westminster, because I want to say there's probably been more American Wrestling Alliance promotions than just this one throughout the years.
Right, and you were out there bright and early to put that stage up, which we're going to have a time lapse of you guys putting the stage up.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun.
Good. That's going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah.
That is a big burly ring, and it takes a long time to put together. So
I gotta be honest, man. There doesn't seem like too much to fall on right there. That's got to be a little.
that's a little thinner
rough.
than most. That's a
Yeah.
little thinner than most.
But
but
why the
that's-
change this time? Just curious. Do you guys usually do thicker rings, or is like?
Well, it just different rings have different padding setups, and,
Sure.
and that just happens to be the padding setup for this ring. So.
There's pretty thin boards too, though, man. That's what surprised
Well,
me.
no. So we've got 2x12 planks.
Cool.
And
Oh,
then
gotcha.
some like 5/8 or 3/4 inch OSB board sheeting over the top of that
Okay.
to eliminate the individual wobbliness of each plank, and to
Nice.
kind of just help solidify everything.
Well,
What's the most dangerous ring you've ever fought on?
The first promotion I was with, the AWA, we had a quote unquote hardcore battle royal that was in a boxing ring. Wrestling rings, the 2x12s are like this. They're sitting like this. That boxing ring, the platform was 2x4s, like this.
No.
So
Like you build a house with.
it had zero give.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how stiff it was until I went to leg drop somebody, and I had a hard time getting around for about a week.
Damn.
It was pretty rough.
what's the worst
Yeah.
injury?
I've had 2 stints of broken ribs over the course of they were almost exactly a year apart. Wrestling injuries, I've torn my knee early in my career. I had a probably what would be a minor rotator cuff injury, but it didn't feel so minor at the time.
Sure.
Oh,
It
right.
hindered me when I finally had a shot to get on TV, and it still worked out. But I was a little nervous because I didn't feel like I could legitimately raise my arm over my head without being in a lot of pain.
Damn.
Right.
And then multiple cases of broken ribs. Probably, I don't know if you guys can see this. That guy right there.
Oh yeah.
I got split to the skull with my first match with Marty the Moth. I don't know if you can see. I got sliced right up the side with getting hit with a belt.
Yeah,
Damn.
So I've got some legit. That's why I'm wearing this shirt. I've got some legit Frankenstein scars.
right.
So all of a sudden, I feel. This is actually one of my kids' shirts originally, but my son's almost bigger than me, or middle kid anyway. So
Dang.
yeah. So I was like, wow, this is cool. Our youngest likes it too, but I feel something with this guy.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What was the shot of TV?
So it was back in 2003. New Mexico now has a pretty good wrestling scene, but didn't have anything back at the time, like an indie scene to where when they hit a town, they can pick up local guys. Every time WWE hits an area, they will usually use local talent for something. Mm-hmm. They didn't have anything down there, so we had one of our wrestlers who was under OVW contract at the time, and they reached out to her asking if she knew anybody that could travel to Albuquerque. So 4 of us took a road trip down to Albuquerque, and I was in a tag match. Me and one of our other guys against Jamie Noble and Nunzio. So back with the Jamie Noble and Nunzio's his cousin,
yeah.
right? And he's coming out with Nydia and all of that stuff. Like that was that era.
Damn.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it was kind of awesome because I tapped out to the trailer hitch, and then they picked me up.
Whoa. What does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
That was Jamie Noble's finisher.
Oh.
Back then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brain's back. Tapped out to the trailer hitch.
I have a trailer hitch, and you don't want to get hit by that thing. That
Oh.
sounds, yeah, okay.
Well, we were assuming injury-wise, it was like an actual hit with a trailer hitch. And we
Oh,
like, damn,
no,
that
no,
dude
no,
went
no,
at you.
No, my rotator cuff, like I knew I needed to get him up and hold him vertical for a suplex, and I was worried about my shoulder. I was hoping that I would just get through on adrenaline and all that, which I did. Like once I was out there, I didn't feel anything.
Right.
So, but I couldn't do my normal warm up and all of that. I like to
yeah.
crank out some push-ups before I go through the curtain and
Right.
look a couple pounds bigger, you know. But
Right.
yeah, so it was pretty painful for a little bit, and then I was able to push through that and eventually get stronger than I was beforehand, but it takes a while.
That's cool. That's crazy. Anything? Do you ever have aspirations to be like in the? I'm ignorant when it comes to wrestling. I'm not gonna lie to
Sure.
you. So, to like the WWF at the time, is there ever aspirations for something like that?
Back in those earlier days, there were.
Sure.
They go for the younger, bigger guys.
Sure.
So unless somehow, some way, they need an older guy with my look, you never know. It's. I don't know that it's ever completely out of the question,
Right.
but it's not likely. They're typically going for bigger, younger, more athletic.
But I mean, back
wrestlers.
back in your heyday, though, I'm saying.
Oh
like,
no, that's always
That's
for
the
the most
goal.
part. That's everybody's goal. I mean,
Yeah.
that was my goal. So I
Right.
felt like I was gonna get to be at a point where it would start picking up.
Right. Right. Huh. That's pretty cool.
Did you have a move, or have you developed moves over time that became your signature for what you do?
Yeah, kinda. I don't know that I've ever. I technically have one submission hold that is legitimately original, but I don't use it very often.
Okay.
And what I've done throughout the years, I've been able to use stuff that hasn't been seen as much, because whoever originated it may have been in a promotion that wasn't viewed as much. But yeah, no, I've had a handful of finishers / submission holds probably throughout my career.
Sweet. Damn.
All right. I tend to believe the career, though. It's
Well, yeah.
yeah.
Unless
4
he's
decades,
just
though.
yoked and hanging out for no reason. I'm like, I assume he's here to do some damage.
He's got a Bronco tattoo, so I'm already a fan.
Well,
I got this in '97. I
Good
was
timing.
only the second or third guy to go into that tattoo shop. It was right after they changed the logo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was on the verge of getting the D because I thought the wheels fell off when they
Yeah.
got bounced in '96,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, I'm riding forever, and they're probably going to go 0-16 now
Yeah. Yeah.
because Zimmerman retired, and I was
Yeah.
like, man, Elway takes off on a run, and he'll pull his hamstring, and they're done. And then I helped him with this. I helped him get 2 in a row.
We thank you for your service, sir.
I did my part. Yeah.
I remember I was living in Pueblo when I saw I think the Rocky Mountain News Post about the new jerseys, and I gotta tell you, I was iffy about them, but I love the D. You know what I mean? The
Right.
Bronco D. If I got a tattoo, it'd probably be the old school Bronco. What's that?
I just wanted that to be noted that Larry said he loved the D.
I hate you so much. I'm editing all this shit out. But the old school D, that's my favorite logo. But that, it's grown on me. So
Sweet.
the one I hate is the one with the way he's where the old school cowboy riding the Bronco.
Oh, yeah.
The one from the 60s?
The old original.
Yeah.
original
When you guys
guy,
had, what was
yeah.
like brown uniforms
Yeah,
or something
yeah,
like that?
yeah. It's what the
While back.
or the Bronco with the extra, like the dead Bronco.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Uh,
It's an orange helmet with a white Bronco, and
Yep.
it looks like it's bucking, but it's got X's for eyes.
I
It might
don't
have been.
remember seeing X's fries. I know what you're talking about with that might be the original helmet or
Right.
something.
Right.
Yeah.
It's,
The original helmet logo.
it's old. It's ugly and it's old. So, all right, we got 2 down, my man. 1 last to go. Vacation.
I had a life vacation, and I wound up incarcerated for over a decade
Wow.
because I was living like a rock star, So pro wrestling and the rock star lifestyle can sometimes go hand in hand, and you see all the old stories about all the old wrestlers that used to party a lot. Well, I used to party a lot, and I was a pretty heavy drinker, and I got in a whole lot of trouble and went away for a while.
Really? What?
I'm like,
yeah.
I know it's like I want to ask a lot of questions about it, but I don't know how much detail we could suss out of this. What are you open to some questions on it?
Oh, I guess so. I guess so.
And if you're not comfortable with it, of course, we can cut. Just let us know. You know what I mean?
All right.
I'm already editing a bunch of shit
Yeah,
out.
he's
So
changing all the stuff that makes him look bad, so he can help you out. But go ahead, Larry.
what was the charge?
It was a burglary charge.
Okay, all right. Oh, these things happen.
Yeah.
Nobody died.
I didn't kill anybody.
Okay.
I didn't seriously injure anybody. I didn't kill anybody. It wasn't anything to where if you're going to go away for a while and people want to check your paperwork,
Sure.
they're going to be like, "Hey, bud,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're gonna pay rent or something worse is going to happen." To you."
sure.
It really would have enhanced the background for the personas, though, to a certain degree. Do you feel like that played a role in any way?
It very well could have.
Sure.
It very well could have.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
This is interesting. Yeah, you call it vacation. That's we're here in Colorado.
yes.
All right. I've never knock on wood.
I was going to say.
Knock on wood. I've never been arrested, so I don't know. It's a decade, huh? That's a tough gig. It wasn't a federal, was it?
No.
That's cool. Because here in Southern Colorado, man, they got a ton of prisons.
Yeah.
Canyon City alone, you know.
Statewide, there's stuff everywhere.
Yeah,
That's,
it's nuts.
That's big money for small towns.
Oh yeah, Lyman's got
I
a
was just about to say
Yeah.
Lyman for sure.
or Sterling. Yeah. Sterling is Sterling federal.
I don't know if it's federal or not, but.
It's big though.
Did you find that your wrestling skills assisted you while you were on vacation?
So back when I was on TV. So right now, I'm basically I'm like a junior heavyweight. I'm more of a light heavyweight, but I was a full blown legit heavyweight back then. So I was much bigger. So when you roll in and you're just way bigger. As long as people don't. As long as you're not in there with the wrong charge, because numbers will always counteract everything else,
Right.
So the biggest jacked dude, if one guy doesn't think he can take it, then his crew of homies might be able to help him out.
Sure enough.
Right.
What was the first thing you did when you got out?
Well, so my goodness, my big issue was my drinking.
Sure.
So once all of a sudden all of that goes down, you realize what you need to start working on to get your act together. So technically what I did, it by definition, when I got out, I got out to a halfway house.
Sure.
So it was just a matter of just getting back to being able to find a normal job.
Yeah, sure.
And then function in society, and that kind of helps you transition. And then, I guess when I actually got paroled, I guess I got a dog.
Oh, you did?
I got a dog, yeah.
Girl, boy, what's the name?
Boy, his name is Bo.
Bo.
And, he's kind of a cool dog. He's kind of a skittish dog.
Right.
And he's kind of a mutt, but
Sure.
But, yeah.
Jimbo, it's cool you found wrestling. You're not found it, but refound it. Because, idle hands are the devil's playground, right, man? So
That's a fact.
No, that's exactly how I wound up going on vacation, because my day job, I was laid off and I had too much time on my hands. During the week, I shouldn't have been out partying. I should have been in bed getting ready to get up in the morning.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you're young, nobody's smart when they're young, Jimbo.
No.
Nobody.
No, no, and you're in your 20s basically, or barely turning 30, I guess. I think I was barely 30, probably.
Right.
But it's still very, very young, and you're in the prime of your life,
Right.
So,
That's tough, man. I'm sorry that happened to you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that happened to you. But you got wrestling now. That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
thank you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you ever go to other towns? Because earlier when we were talking to old Rude, he named off like 4 or 5 different things in Denver and Colorado Springs, like wrestling groups like this. Correct?
Currently here in town, CSW is the only Colorado Springs promotion. RCW is further south, and then everybody else is further north.
Right. But in Colorado, there's quite a few.
Oh yeah. The bulk of it's in Denver, though. The bulk of it's in the Denver area.
Right.
So, but it's growing. There's a promotion that is moving out here. Battle Pro Wrestling originated out of California, and is actually going to be transitioning and making its new home in Colorado and starting up, but probably running out of the Fort Collins area.
Okay.
Nice.
Here in the fall. Yep.
Do you guys wrestle each other? Is it pretty normal?
You mean between promotions?
Yes.
So you have some territories where you will see that happen, some territories where you won't see that happen. But the Four Corners territory as an organization was kind of built to be able to allow all of these promotions that are so close together, often using the same talent, to be able to do their stuff without having to dance around each other, or I guess we do dance around each other without stepping on each other's toes.
Sure.
Because otherwise it's like, well, I don't care what these guys are doing. I'm going to book my show on this night knowing that they're going to run their show. And now fans have to choose. Wrestlers have to choose. And if you can find a way to work together, you can now. Wrestlers don't have to choose. The fans don't have to choose. You get to see something slightly different in a slightly different area all the time.
But it's not like interleague play though, right? Like,
Well, it can be that's how you had the association up until last month have the Primos Tag Team Championship and the CSW Tag Team Championship at the same time.
so you have a writer that because we said on last time, wrestling's not fake; it is scripted. But
Scripted.
but
We
the
don't use the F word out here.
There's that's going to be something that not everybody gets right off the bat until you kind of get in depth with it.
Sure.
Because pro wrestling and MMA, they everything has the same root. It all really comes from the old school catch as catch can wrestling, and
what is it?
Catch as catch can wrestling. So old catch wrestling.
I guess I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's just the really old stuff from back around like the early 1900s, where you had these guys actually getting in there and really grappling for like a real world title back in the day.
Oh, wow.
And then all of a sudden, somewhere along the lines, like after like World Wars, I keep bumping your mic, guys.
You're good.
It's okay, no worries.
After World Wars, it seemed a little easier to get people to want to go see something different. And so all of a sudden, if you had wrestling at more of a carnival area, somewhere along the lines, people started figuring out, hey, we can do something with these guys, and that's where the term mark even came from. They were figuring out who was who and which fan you could mark and potentially get money out of them when you started fixing a match, kind of like boxing is fixed.
Yeah.
You figure out what the odds are, and somebody throws a fight. A lot of people make a lot of money.
Right.
And it was probably something very, very similar back in those old days.
It makes me think immediately of that garbage Jake Paul, Tyrone Woodley fight. And Woodley gets knocked out, and I'm like, he literally has his hand up like this and then drops his guard down on purpose, and you see the fist fly out and hit him, and he just drops on the ground like he was out for hours. I'm
Right.
like,
Yeah.
come on, man.
Yeah.
My original question was, though, I guess I don't know if you got much into this part of it as like the owner would, but if you have two different wrestling groups wrestling each other and you both have writers, who gets the rights to decide how the match or to actually script the match?
I think that would always vary depending on the situation, and it's going to come down to folks have to sit down and talk about it, and I think maybe that's why you don't see this as much.
Right. Yeah, I'd imagine.
Because there has to be some give and take somewhere along the lines.
Right.
So, but that's what's so special about the Four Corners territory. It is allowing like Primos and CSW and Lucha Libre and Laughs that's also up out of Denver, and I want to say like IWC, the International Wrestling Cartel, their Denver branch, to all get to work together.
That's good.
And sometimes you get to have like a champion versus champion and all of that. So
Sick.
maybe it'll continue to grow, and maybe it'll become the model that now everybody else gets to base their stuff off of.
Right.
Hopefully, but if not, we got a sweet little thing going on down here.
Because I'm going to throw a little bit of nerd into this. I used to be a huge comic book fan, huge. And when DC and Marvel would get together on a comic, I always wondered what that fight was like. When they had, you know what I mean? Like, because you want your people
Right.
to become the dominant ones, right? You don't want to lose any fights.
Right.
You don't want to lose any matches to them, right? So I've always been curious on how two companies that come together, two federations, so promotions as you call them, how that's got to be tough to decide. I mean, you know, you almost have to.
Especially with money on the line.
There has to be some give and take,
Yeah.
you know. So, and usually when you see it happening, it doesn't seem to last very long. It's like, okay, let's do this. Let's make something big out of it, make our money, but we can't
Right.
keep running like this.
Yeah.
Right.
We need to get back to doing our own thing.
Do you guys, is it pretty easy to keep beefs with people, man? Or is there, you ever had beefs with people, like honest to God, like hard feelings towards people? Is it easy to
I
do
personally have not, no.
that? Okay.
The most notable thing I could probably think of that everybody knew was a legit thing was you know, like Matt Hardy and Edge over Lita and that whole deal.
Yeah.
And from what I always heard, you know, Matt Hardy was super professional and willing to still be a professional in the ring for the sake of the business. Because there comes a point where you still have to put the business first.
Yeah.
And whatever your personal beef is, you have to deal with it outside of wrestling.
Right.
Because that potential could be there if you deal with it in the ring and this work turns into a shoot. We're literally allowing the person we're working with to take our life into their hands.
Yeah.
Right.
And that could go real sideways real fast, especially with that kind of situation that was going on. That's probably the kind of situation that would cause the hardest feelings out of almost anything else that I could think of anyway.
Right.
So,
Because, I mean, I'd imagine that there's times that I imagine your adrenaline is going a million miles an hour in that ring, right? And it'd probably be real easy for someone just to not intentionally go a little hard. But, I mean, sometimes you play rough, right?
well, you know, at some point, everybody has the potential to stiff somebody. At
Yeah.
some point, you're going to stiff somebody. You're going to get stiffed. There's a difference between doing it steadily the whole time or you just gave them a stiff shot. If you give somebody a stiff shot, apologize for it, move on, so that they know that they're not just getting in there with somebody who's going to be stiffing them the whole time.
Yeah.
I had one match down in Texas, a tag team match with the Dirty Blondes, where I was stiffing a guy. I didn't know it. I did not know that I didn't know I was stiffing him, because apparently they communicated through my partner, hey, tell your partner to lighten up. Which my partner was probably caught up with nerves and adrenaline, and nobody told me anything.
Yeah.
So we had the talk afterwards, and it was a very good, productive conversation, because when you get to work with somebody, a tag team, whatever, and they're on a much higher level, you're going to learn something. You're probably going to get some critiques along the way. So as far as I was concerned, you know, I took my critiques as soon as I found out that I was stiffing him, like multiple times. I felt like doo-doo.
Yeah.
And I immediately apologized for it.
Right.
But I didn't know. You know, I didn't know I was stiffing him. And then down the road, all of a sudden, my partner was like, oh, yeah, I was catching your receipts. And it's like, well, you know, I personally believe if I stiff you, you need to immediately tell me, because if you're stiffing me, I'm going to immediately tell you.
Yeah,
I'm not going
right.
to tell your partner to tell you to lighten up.
Right.
But, you know, I don't know. It's a different scene, and maybe things operate differently than what I think or know.
Sure.
I don't know. But, you know, I definitely I learned from it, and I retooled part of what I was doing with my regular offense at that time. I started paying a little closer attention to it.
Sure. My buddy Adrian that does this in his podcast he's
Yeah.
on, he has a story where he gets hit with a chair a little too hard. He said the guy hit him so hard, like he could taste the metal of the chair.
Jesus.
And he said that he fell down and his buddy just goes, I love you, buddy, sorry. You know, right in the middle of the ring, you know. And I just kind of laughed. Like that.
Sometimes on that level, sometimes the best stuff is going to come from workers that are a little closer. They're a little tighter. They're better friends. They know each other better,
Right.
and you can probably get away with that with somebody who is potentially your best friend in the business versus somebody you barely know.
Yeah.
Right.
And you'll hear stories like that on every level. You know, when you got folks that are basically potentially best friends, but one's a face and one's a heel, and you let them have their angle for a while. Let them run with that program and beat the crap out of each other. They're gonna beat the crap out of each other, and then they're gonna hug it out afterwards and go have their beers and all of that stuff.
Yeah,
That's cool.
But you can't necessarily do that with everybody.
Sure enough.
That's cool though. I think it's cool too. On a different note, we kind of sit here and wait for someone to open this place up for you guys to set up, and it was fun to listen to you guys talk to each other about wrestling. You know, about the passion. It's fun. Like, I've been around comedians my whole life. You know, we did.
Right.
I booked shows for a long time, and it's fun to listen to people talk about their art. You know, I call it your art, but your passion.
Definitely.
It's fun, and the funny part is I can't follow most of the conversation you're talking about. Like, you guys, there's
a lot of slang. A lot more slang than I would have even thought.
Oh, yeah.
Tons of slang.
Yeah. I think every facet of life kind of has its own version of that.
Definitely.
Right. That's cool, though.
Dang.
All right, man. Well, you got 3 stories, Matthew. You got one in mind?
Yeah.
So do I.
Yeah.
All right. Do you think we got him?
No.
No.
No, I think this man's an excellent liar, and it's hard to crack,
yeah.
and I have no idea. I guess we'll find out.
Well, here's what we do, Jimbo. We do the rock, paper, scissors to see which one of us has to try and guess first, right?
Okay.
But we come to find out in this podcast that there are people do rock, paper, scissors 2 separate ways. They either go rock, boom, and then show, or rock, paper, scissors, show. Which
Okay.
one do you do?
Man, I want to say that I've always gone we don't even call it out. It's just like boom, boom, do it.
Yep. 3 pumper. Jimbo, you're right, by the way. Just go doom,
I don't know. It's hard for my brain to understand that.
No,
I'm not good at math.
So it would we don't even do, you hear people do the Rochambeau or whatever, or rock, paper, scissors, whatever. For me, it's always been like boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom,
Right.
boom, boom, boom.
Me too. 3 pumper. So that's what we're doing today. Jimbo! I know you hate it, and I love the fact you hate it.
I hate every second of this.
Cheating bastard. All right.
Kind of went both ways on that.
I planned that
guys.
one in my head.
Yeah.
I was thinking you would do different, and so I was like,
Now listen, when I wrote stuff down there and I gave them a number. So when this thing comes up, it basically everything is numbered the same way with what was what.
Okay.
So
Okay. But you'll say, okay. Well, okay.
because I think when you picked them, I think they went out of order, so I didn't label it according
yeah.
to title.
That's okay.
I did what I did based off of number.
So
No worries.
I thought it was going to go in order.
Careers -- vacations 2, and okay. So careers number 1, vacation number 2, and families number 3. Now
Right.
I'm gonna this is a weird thing because you have 2 stories that contradict one another. Because you said you wrestled for 4 years, but you went on vacation for 10 years. Although you could have actually wrestled, the vacation could have fallen between 2 decades. So
It could have.
technically it could be true. So
and he did do 4 decades of wrestling.
Congratulations. That's what's kind of hanging me up right now. When you start saying, I was like, oh, I don't have you, Jimbo, but I feel like I somewhat have you, Jimbo.
Yeah.
I think family's true. You had a little spark in your eye about your granddaughter. I hope that's true, and I'm glad she's healthy. But I'm going to go ahead and go with career. I'm going to go with career.
You're going to go with the wrestler that just talked to us and told us his whole career, and he made it all up?
4 decades.
That's what's tripping you up?
Maybe I think it's... You look younger than that. I don't think you look old enough to have that.
He's just in shape. We're fat.
Well, of course.
Like, come on, man.
You know what? I'm going to go career. Number
Sticking
1.
to his guns.
Yeah.
When you first told the family story in the one sentence, I was like, this guy just made that up. He looked up a name and just picked a name and decided to call that his granddaughter. But I'm like, I feel that's ridiculous. I'm going to go vacation.
Really?
Yes.
Why so?
Well, I don't really have a good reason other than I'm pretty confident you're a wrestler. And I'm pretty confident that, well, I mean, I don't want to assume you're a grandpa, but you did seem like, yeah, you're pretty excited. I mean, in your way, you're excited about being a grandpa.
It's almost like you guys are picking up on the polarity of how there's two things that are kind of doing something with each other.
Yes.
And you guys are on opposite ends of that spectrum.
Right.
Of course we are.
We very rarely do we pick.
What is
together.
the joke you always say? It's so stupid. That we'll never have sex because we have no rhythm.
That's when we try to. We usually make rock paper scissors. We're always on the different pumps.
I know. This is another one of those instances. I know.
He
just said pumps.
I said make love, you prick. That's all he just said.
All right, whatever.
Okay, let's see it, Jimbo.
Let's see it. Let's see here.
One's the truth, cancer, truth.
Damn it, man!
Three's the lie.
So family is the lie. I'm not a grandpa. So now I get to tie all of this in though, right?
Yep.
Right. So I did start wrestling in '99. I got in trouble in '03. I got out in '14. So before I got in trouble, I wrestled in the '90s and the 2000s. When I got out, I wrestled in the teens and the 20s. So my career has spanned, even with being away for over a decade, it's spanned
I hate you, Jimbo.
for 4 decades. and then when I got out, my family now, I legit. This is kind of like Jimbo on a personal level. I used to pray to just get to have a family when I got out because I didn't know when I was going to get out and all of that. And I used to tell God, even if I don't get to have kids of my own, I know there are good kids out there that don't have a dad.
Yeah.
Right.
And I will be a good dad for them. And he put a fantastic gal who was widowed with 2 amazing kids in my life.
Oh, that's cool.
So we have a 13-year-old boy named Luke and a 9-year-old girl named Tatum.
What's up, Luke? What's up, Tatum? Shout out.
So
Luke and
hopefully
Tatum.
they get to see this. And my Katie Sue is just my God's answer to my prayers. So
That's really beautiful, man.
That is awesome.
So basically, I just threw an extra kid with the grandbaby onto that story because I was like, man, I don't know what's gonna trip. I needed to trip you guys up. I didn't know. I thought you were feeling it there for a little bit. You're like, he couldn't talk a lot about that because I'm winging stuff. I was winging like I had to pull a name out of my hat
but you did it so quick. That's what convinced me.
I was like, man, and I was like, if they keep on asking stuff and then they circle back around, it's like police interrogators because that's
Jimbo,
man.
I'm not gonna lie to you. That first story you told, you're like, I'm a grandpa. I'm like,
Yeah, just like wait.
I don't know why, but I believe him.
I know. I wasn't going to, why would you lie about that? But then, yes, it worked perfectly. And that short story thing, I think that's going to be a thing. I think people are going to start doing that to trip you up.
I hope not. That's tough to defend.
It's tough.
And usually,
when we got around to everything else, though, I was feeling how it's like, okay, everything else we're getting in deeper depth with.
Yeah.
And at some point, it's going to come back around to how short being a grandpa was.
Yeah.
And you know what, Jimbo? Usually, 99% of the time, I'll bite on the short story.
Yeah.
That's my thing. If it's got no detail, I usually always pick it. But then I thought, this guy's proud of his granddaughter. Here's what I thought you did. I thought you needed one more thing, and you're just going to throw out, just throw something out. And I thought that's what that is. He just needed something else, so he's going to tell us just a truth about himself. So that's why that flew in. Congratulations. Very smart.
You burned us.
You guys, man. I didn't. I was like, man, this had so much potential. And then I was like, oh, he's like, dude, that's real short.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, man, they didn't freaking buy it. Oh, my gosh.
I was going to ask you this question, though, offhand. We're talking about the wrestling. If you could pick one wrestler of all time to have a match with, who would it be?
All right, so right now, if I could have a match with anybody, I would have a match. Man, that's,
all time, no matter what level. Hulk Hogan.
I got to meet Jake the Snake a few years back because Bad Boys of Wrestling ran a show up at the Eagle County Fairgrounds. That guy is so cool.
Right.
And it would be a good, simple, basic match because I remember they wanted to get 15. It was a main event match, and they wanted like 15 minutes. And I think he had to tell him to take it home after 6 or 7 because of the altitude.
Oh, yeah.
Like he was gassed because it was up in the mountains.
Sure.
But no, that guy's he was one of my favorites when I was younger. But right now, I would say it would be a current guy. It would be Pete Dunne, because I like British technical wrestling, and he's actually Katie's favorite wrestler. So I guess technically Jimbo's her favorite, but aside from me, Pete Dunne is her favorite wrestler, and so I'm a fan of his as well. I think that would make her brain melt, but I don't get the chance to really show off the technical stuff that I know I can do.
Right.
So that would be one of those once in a lifetime things, more than likely.
What's
Hell
up?
yeah.
What's up, Pete Dunne? We know you listen. So
Apparently they call him Butch now.
Okay.
Which most of us do not like when they go changing the name after
right.
they call him up to the main roster. But her dad's nickname was Butch, so she's like, I can live with that.
that's cool. Hey,
Damn.
dude, excellent way to fool us. By the way,
No, that was good.
I'm a little sit beside myself right now. Like I didn't see that coming at all, man.
It was the I mean, and I could even see it when you did the reveal. There was a personality shift almost at the same time, where like you were, I don't want to say you were stony, but like you were just very matter of fact. Like, I just got to get the info out to these guys and keep it brief, and then like immediate relax, laugh, have some fun. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
you fooled us. You fooled us.
Damn you, Jimbo.
Well, we've gotten the hard knocks.
Hard knocks. And hey, once again, bullhucker.com for all your stuff. Right bottom hand corner is a subscribe button. Please hit that. It's a small click for you, but a huge click for us. And once again, we're going to have the link to Colorado Springs Wrestling in every one of the descriptions of this. So please make sure you support these guys and gals. There's females wrestling tonight too.
Absolutely. From what I understand, they're working on building the women's division back up.
Awesome.
And eventually crowning another CSW women's champion.
Hell yeah.
That's been in limbo for a little bit. So we've had different titles and all of that, and weird history with that division, but they're working on getting it to where it needs to be.
Excellent.
Because them gals can go.
And you know what? Like I said, I can't say it enough. The respect I have of the fact that you have people in a community that found something they love to do, a passion you do anyway, but you
Yeah.
found a way to make money for charities. You found a way to make life better for a lot of people, man. And this is probably, for some people, I don't mean to sound too dramatic, but it probably saved a lot of lives here. You know what I mean? People that would be in trouble maybe down the line, but this is something that they found that they can sink their teeth into, and something to be proud of, and something to be passionate about. And I hope everybody in Colorado Springs, Pueblo, Castle Rock, any surrounding areas, check this out.
Statewide, yeah.
Bring the kids down, man. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yes.
When Adrian wrestled, Tim and Crystal, our good friends, Kyle, her son, who's in the Navy now, but back then he was 7, 8 years old.
Dang.
The look on his face was just, his jaw was open. He
Yeah.
thought this was, and plus Uncle Adrian was in there, throwing down on people. So it was cool. But anyway, I hope you support these guys. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Jimbo, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you guys. This was a blast.
Glad you have fun, man.
I'm Moose Lundstrom.
Matt Gordon.
See you later. Peace.